Hi, this is Andrew McMillan again with REH CPA. I'm sitting down with Ray Halstead, and today we wanted to go over LLC taxes and explain them a little bit and how they work. So, Ray, what can you tell us about LLC taxes?
So one of the first things that you need to understand, there's always a lot of confusion around this area because I'll ask somebody else like, well, what entity are you or how are you taxed? And they say, well, I'm an LLC. And I'll say, well, but are you an S corp? Or are you this? And they say, well, I'm an LLC. So there just needs to be some basic understanding. It gets a little bit confusing, but an LLC is not necessarily a tax entity, right? An LLC is a legal entity. So what you do is you set an LLC up with the Secretary of State, and then you now have established your legal entity in the state of North Carolina. Now, once you establish that LLC, you are defaulted into one of two things. If you are multi-member, meaning there's more than one person who's an owner, you're going to default to being a partnership in the eyes of the federal government. And then you're taxed as a partnership. If you are just one person, you're going to default to what's called a single member LLC, and you'll file on a Schedule C. Your partnership will file on what's called a 1065, right? So those two basic initial structures are what you will establish if you just do an LLC and you just get your EIN. Now, if those structures are fine with you and you're comfortable with that and you understand the taxation and that's exactly how you guys want to do it, great. But you also have options with the LLC. The LLC can be a couple different things, right? The LLC can be the partnership. The LLC can be the sole proprietorship or the single member LLC. But it can also make certain elections with the federal government. It can be a C corporation. It can be an S corporation, right? So these things they seem very simple on the surface, right? But they're not. There's a bunch of complexities that go into making these decisions. We have it all the time where business owners will come in and say, well, my buddy told me this, or I read this on the internet, or I saw this. What we do as CPAs is we take all that information, we put it together. We look at your individual situation. We look at the business situation. We look at the structure. We look at how many people are involved. We look at the loan structures. We look at all of these things to help you determine what is the best tax structure for you. So absolutely love LLCs, but understand they're legal entities. And then we have to determine the tax structure. And here at REH, we help you determine that by analyzing your total situation.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like one key distinction is an S corporation is not an entity; it's a tax election.
Correct. It is not an entity in the state of North. You have to elect to be an S corporation.
Right.
You can't go to the Secretary of State and say, I want to file an S corporation.
Right.
You can file an Inc. or you can file an LLC. And then you make your election with the federal government to be taxed as an S corporation.
Yeah. No, we get asked that all the time, and
Yep.
I appreciate you going through that clear distinction there of what the differences are and how those are going to work. So
Absolutely.
again, my name is Andrew McMillan. I'm with Ray Halstead. We're with REH CPA, and I appreciate you guys tuning in for us.
Thanks.